if you look at the history of what has brought down core reserve currencies, it typically takes losing a war as a primary reason why there would be a transition.
You just blew my mind, Bob. Honestly, go ahead.
Away from that currency. And so, could I? What are the probabilities? Could I see a situation where there's a meaningful global conflict and the U.S. loses that global conflict, and as a function of that, the U.S. monetary system becomes less important? Certainly, I think to suggest otherwise would be foolish. Absent that, at least, I'd say in the next 10, 20 years, there's not a lot of clear alternatives that exist. And that's really when it comes to a reserve currency. It's not the perfect currency. It's the one that has the deepest, most liquid capital markets with the best sort of legal infrastructure. And that's really, that's the US. Like I always thought, and I was very familiar with some very aggressive Sinophiles, that the idea that China was going to take over, the Chinese yuan was going to be a meaningful reserve currency to challenge the dollar, like that always sounded like garbage to me, given, the infrastructure. I always like, whenever I think about the Chinese yuan and the reserve currency, I think about the comments from the head of the Russian central bank, who's actually like quite a sophisticated thinker in markets. And she's basically like, why the heck would I ever hold Chinese yuan? In the case of an emergency, they'll just take it away from me with capital controls. Right. And I'm like, yes. I'm like, shit, man, if the Russians won't hold your currency as a reserve currency, like, good luck.
And I agree. Do you want them to be the arbiter of global trade? And the answer to that is no. But it's kind of ironic that came out of Russia, considering we did freeze up a lot of their dollars.
Absolutely. Right. But even with that, they won't hold the Chinese yuan.
Still won't trust China. Okay. So that is an excellent point.